to a show.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Off the Mats podcast. And today's guest on the podcast is someone that I've trained with for quite a bit of time, on and off. As you know, I've been away from the mats, she's been away from the mats, but we always come back to the mats. We train together, and then I'm reminded that maybe I need to work more on my technique. So, my guest today for the podcast is longtime teammate and friend, Miss Naomi. Actually, what Miss Coach Naomi. That's what one of the kids calls you.
All the time.
And it always stuck in my head. Miss Coach Naomi.
Wow.
Hello, Naomi, and welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. It snowed, so I'm not all right. But my wife says I have to go out and clear the cars off at some point, and I was like, I don't know why I got to do that. I'm not driving. So anyhow, for this episode, really, I've wanted to have you on for a while. And it was more like, as I was talking to people, it's like, well, look, I like to find out, people's jiu-jitsu journey, their stories and everything. And as I've mentioned to my grandma when she was a guest, and I've mentioned to a few other folks from the gym, like, I see you folks all the time, but it's like, I don't know nothing about y'all. So that's why I do the podcast. I want to learn about people. Sometimes strangers in Sweden, sometimes strangers in Australia. But then I realized there's a lot of strangers in my own gym. So yes, my first question really is, like, what got you on the mats in the first place?
Oh, man. So honestly, my dad is the one who did it. So, my dad's kind of like a quiet person. I'm not sure how much you actually even know about him, but he's been doing martial arts his whole life. He was doing martial arts well before he started. He was in the Marines, then, doing martial arts on and off after. And he was actually going to Danny's gym. He was going to Ivy League for a couple years. My littlest brother and sister started doing classes, and I was in college at the time. I was like a sophomore in college, maybe a junior, something like that. And, he talked about it all the time. He was like super into it, very hyper focused, like how he gets. And I was like, man, like, why not? Like, I'll just try it. I was super into sports all high school. And I was really into CrossFit and running and stuff in college before I tore my ACL for the first time. And I was kind of looking for something to like get into. So he wasn't actually even at the first class I went to, because I had to do it like around my my class schedule and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just walked in with a t-shirt and shorts, had no idea what the hell was going on. And oh God, I can't even remember who it was that like Danny had me rolling with. It wasn't even women. I don't even know if there was a woman on the mat in that class. There might have been, like, Rachel was there at the time. Cece was training. There was like a couple other women who were kind of there on and off. But I don't think this particular class there was a female. So he had me training. Oh God, you would know them. I'll have to send you their picture later. But and I like did one class, and I got this. I guess I shouldn't cuss. I got the crap kicked out of me, like, just absolutely. And I, went back home because I was living with my parents. I was commuting to school. My dad was like, how was it? And I was like, oh, it was great. I got the absolute crap kicked out of me. I'll go back again tomorrow. And sort of how it started.
Well, that's how most people end up sticking with it, and then kind of conveying that. It's like, yeah, first day I got like brutalized. And I was like, I'm gonna go back, like, which that says a whole lot about like your fight, determination. Not like a lot of folks are like, ooh, those kinds of. I mean, we've had people who've come in like where like I had a friend that came in once. I remember you and I, like, yes. There were uneven numbers, and I think we were working like, I don't know, we might have been working something else, but I think with him, Danny had us doing like rear naked chokes. Mm-hmm. And he was like, when you like took my back, he was like, oh, y'all just get all up in there. He was
Yeah,
like, well, like
yeah.
that's how you choke people, dude. And he wasn't feeling that. He was like, nah, like I'm not doing this. But he ended
No,
up doing Muay Thai though. So
well, and Muay Thai is a lot more accessible. I feel like most people have like a general understanding of like what a punch and a kick is. So it's just a lot, and then it's a lot like it's more physical, I guess, in the sense of like you're getting hit or something, but it's also a lot less physical. Like you're not really like touching up on people the same way. I will say I'm sure that I was a lot less brutalized than most people because I was a woman. I'm like, I was small, like coming in for the first time young. And you know how Danny is when like women walk in. Well, most gyms when women walk in, they're like, dude, don't scare them away. Like,
yeah,
don't don't say anything, don't do anything. You know what I mean? Like you're very particular about the people you have roll with them at first. Like it's very so yes, did I get beat up? Of course. But I'm sure it's a very different experience than with men. I will say, like, usually when you're a woman coming into a gym for the first time, there is definitely anxiety. You walk in like you don't see women. Pretty much everybody's bigger than you. It, so it is like it's slightly different, but I don't know. I guess I'm just a crazy person, so I was like, yeah, like of course. Why wouldn't I come back and get choked some more? That sounds like a great day, like another Tuesday.
no, just Tuesday. It's fine. Yes, I will say, like, I do think you're a crazy person,
Oh,
not like in a bad way, but in a way of like, yeah, there's like a challenge. So
yeah,
let's face that challenge. Versus again, you get a lot of folks they come in, and even to your point is like females come in and it's like, oh, okay, like there might be a couple others. I know, yeah, at the time Rachel, um, was there pretty frequently. And then CC would come up, age up and like, train. But
don't stop. Don't even. I have like PTSD from it. So okay, stop. There was a time period. I'm sure you remember for like a couple years. Like I feel like I was probably 6 or 7 months in, and it was right around maybe when I first got my blue belt or right before, and something happened, and there were just no women. I was the only woman on the mat. And then explain to me why Danny's gym, why Ivy League was always the heavyweight gym. So it was me, and then on like a good day, somebody would be like 170. And like a
yeah,
woman would randomly walk in the gym and you'd see me in the corner. I'd be like waving, like, no, please. It's so fun. Stay. If you stay, more will come. Please.
when I think about those early days, you're thinking like Jeff Blatchley, you're thinking like Nick,
Or
Thor. It's like these big fellas, and I
even,
mean,
you
hell,
remember,
even
who was the guy who used to work in the Secret Service or whatever?
Luke.
And then even my dad and CH are like big, like, it's just like, oh my God, I'm dying.
Yeah, like Luke picked me up like a child once and lowered me back down to the mat gently, and then proceeded to armbar me.
Right.
And
You're like,
that
that was
was the
disrespectful, but
yeah, I really felt like at that moment, the way that I appreciate him not just like slamming me down. I do appreciate that. But then also it made me understand that and this is Dante with training, how
right.
helpless I really still am.
Stop.
Like
You're like,
like
my own mortality was right there in my face.
yeah, I mean he like picked me up like legitimately like a child, cradled me like a child. And you could see him kind of think about like not like slamming me, but like kind of returning me back to the ground,
Right.
like,
Thinking about it. Right.
and then he just lowered me down. Like he didn't brace or anything. Like he was super strong. Lowered me down and then went to an arm bar, and I was just like, well, I've got some work to do.
Well, I guess that's that. It's just fine.
Like don't get picked up by big dudes. It's just not fun. Um, but either way, well, yeah, in like in those early days, especially. Well, I feel like just that general area because we still kind of have that issue
Hmm.
now. Monday night, we had a young lady come in. I think it was her first class. And you look around. There's Kyle Rock. There's me. It was a smaller class, like in
Because I'm
like
even
attendance.
thinking, right, like, just friggin' sorry. Oh my God. I'm like about to start just cussing on your thing. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's like you got friggin' like Tibbins, so like tiny. But then you have
Yeah,
okay, like, and Epps isn't there right now because I know he's at like whatever, but like Epps, like Ronnie, like
yeah.
it's you, like whatever. And like this poor lady probably walks in like, I'm gonna learn to defend myself. And it's just like she's like, bro, what?
I'm trying to think. I can't even remember who. I can't remember who I ended up pairing up with. She ended up pairing up with Timmons,
Makes
and
sense, right?
um, I think Jose was there, and he's just like a gorilla.
Stop. Jose
Um,
is crazy.
which well, no, because every time I have to, when we switch around, it's like, okay, now go find a new partner, and I'm looking, it's like, well, look, I don't want anybody else to have to suffer this fate, so I'll go roll with this guy over here who's doing acrobatic moves now. And I'm like, yo, you gotta chill. Like, you 200 in a bunch, you out here doing bolos. No, knock it off. Like,
He's like,
but
we need to be done with that now.
like, yeah, man, like, chill. But this young lady comes in, and well, like, I heard at the front desk, she was like, yeah, I'll come back. Like, I'll come back on Wednesday. And I was like, yo, you wild. Like,
Dante's like, you will?
I was
We
like, well,
convinced you?
and even in that thought, I was like, I ain't coming back Wednesday. Like,
Like, I need a break for a little bit right now. Like, stop.
yeah. But yeah, it like jujitsu just in general though kind of has that vibe where it's like, you see the posts on social media. It's like, well, if there aren't women at the gym, it's a toxic gym. It's like that's not exactly the case. It's like the sport is still very male dominated. So you look at a gym, it's like you come into one of our classes, and it's mostly guys. We might have the occasional woman there, which might be you. Um, you know, I'm trying to even think at SP, like
Madeline, maybe.
Madeline, yeah.
Crystal was her name. She was very nice.
Oh yeah, yeah, Crystal. Um, yeah, like and that's the thing is like you're not gonna see too many more
Not
like
really.
over that number, at least at that location. And sometimes it's just the area because you go over to Elk Ridge
Oh, and then you're gonna
and
find a ton of women.
yeah, it's like live affair over there. It's like,
Lilith
sheesh.
Fair is crazy. Um, no, I think I hear what people are saying when they talk about like, if a gym can't keep women, whatever. And I think that there's maybe some fairness to that. But I also think, like you said, one, it's a male dominated sport. And two, I think people don't think about like when you do think about culture when it comes to like um, combat sports or even like contact sports. Um, if I'm going to get into maybe a tiny bit of a tirade or something, like most women don't grow up with that being like normal, like being physical, really.
Yeah,
I think nowadays it is much more common. Like female wrestling is really becoming a huge thing. Colleges are pouring money into stuff like that. You do see a lot more now, like women doing jujitsu and boxing and training, and which is amazing. But at the end of the day, like you said, like if you got 10 people, 8 of them are probably going to be men. Maybe 1 or 2 are going to be women, right? And so, when you make a decision, most women to like try it, right? And I'm thinking about it because I had a friend who I finally convinced that I work with to come. Not, she wouldn't try jujitsu, but I was like, here, I'll take like a, Muay Thai class with you. I've done it enough. Like, I'm familiar. I have stuff you can borrow, whatever. She like could not handle the amount of men in the class. It made her so uncomfortable. So I think like some of it too is like there's already a level of discomfort and fear and anxiety for women when they even make it there. So I think it definitely takes like a certain kind of mentality or like even like I think like bravery, right? Like you show up on a
yeah,
mat, you're the only woman there. There's no men. Everyone's bigger than you. You don't know anything. I had in my corner, right? Like my dad had been doing it for years. He was supportive, if you don't have anything like that, I imagine it can be terrifying. So like I hear what people say, right? Like be careful about the gym you go to when you're a woman. And that's true. You want to make sure you're
Yeah,
going a place where you're safe and you're respected, right? But also, I don't think that's like you said always on a gym, right? Like I would consider Severna Park or really any of the 88 schools. I mean, really any of the schools around here. Like when I went to Randori, it was a really great
yeah,
experience. Like I've heard great things about 301, you know what I mean? But it's not always on the school. Like if
yeah.
you've got a ton of big men, like you said, like you were like, dude, this chick must be crazy to come back after it was just a class of like me and like Jose and like
Yeah. Like, I mean, there weren't like the only small person in there was Timmons
right.
and her.
And it was another
So,
dude, so it's like
yeah. Yeah, I think, that is a big thing too, just like in general, like you said, combat sports. In these days, yeah, there is a little different vibe to it. Even Sarah, she's mentioned in the past was like, I absolutely could not do it. And her biggest thing was like, like just being in close proximity with men,
right.
grappling like that. And I was like, well, you could work with me. And she was like, okay,
But like
that's, and this was at the time when I think we're in Arnold still. And it's like, well, Naomi's there, I'm there, you be in good hands. And she was like, nah, not for me. And it can be intimidating, and you know, you get anxious. It's like, oh, I don't
well then
know
it's
that I
like are
want to
you
do
even
this.
enjoying yourself? Like
Yeah. I mean, look, a lot of times I'm not.
but you do after. It's like that's the thing. Is there are plenty of
Yeah.
times like I'm in the middle of like a chokehold or like I'm having a bad day and I am absolutely not enjoying class. But like something about when I get home, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I went. So
Oh
good.
yeah. Like yesterday, um, like I was the restaurant for everybody yesterday. Like I was it like Friday, my back was hurting and like I just wasn't doing great on Friday. But I
Right.
was like, I'm determined to go in on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be stopped. I went in and I was taking it kind of easy. I was like, all right, I'm gonna take my time. Everyone that I roll with, I'm gonna establish to them we are flowing. And if you want to do anything further, call your mom. Go roll with her. I'm not the one. And then CH came over. And I was like, all
Oh,
right. I
you
mean,
let him know, didn't you?
then yeah, by tapping 4 times. Um, I tapped him 4 times. Like, hey, I'm not the one.
You're
And
like, hey, after the fourth one, you're like, okay, now, sir,
like,
not a fifth
like,
time.
knock it off. And then when I was about to tap on that fifth one, which was legit, I don't know what choke he had, but I wasn't in a good place. The timer went off, so he got lucky,
He got
like
lucky.
real lucky.
That was about to make a comeback. This was going to be like like an underdog story.
He was about to get slapped. Like, I mean, some would call it a tap, but
So,
you know, titles. Um, anyhow, so like early on though with Trent, like you were just straight like consistent. Did you have any kind of um like on again, off again, or it was like just whenever you got opportunity to train, you were there?
well, early, when I first started training, like I said, I was like a sophomore in college, I think. So, like, what responsibilities does like a 19-year-old have, like a 20-year-old, right? So, like, it was pretty much my life was like, aside from, like my family or like I had relationships, whatever, but it was school and jujitsu. And I have a pretty like intense personality. Um,
Really?
okay, so first of all, calm down. I'm
I'm
competitive.
calm.
I'm
I'm calm.
competitive. And so, that gets channeled into a lot of different things, right? With school, like, I need to know it. I need to be the best. When I did sports in high school, right? Like with track, it had to be my times, field hockey, like I wanted to win. Like it's always something. So with jujitsu, I was there, right? Like 6 days a week, sometimes twice a day. I was running, like I was doing all this stuff, right? Competing, whatever. Um, it wasn't until, well, so no, that's a lie. So I did take a little bit of a break sometime in there because I tore my meniscus. I had to get surgery. Yeah, Epps. Shout out to Epps. Uh,
Hmm.
and I mess with him with that. It really wasn't his fault. Like my foot got caught in the mat, and it was just kind of like a weird thing in wrestling class. Yeah, it wasn't great. Um, so I did take like a little time off there, but I didn't have my first big break from training until I got pregnant. So it was like not super long after I got my blue belt, like a couple months. My wonderful miracle surprise happened. And obviously, you know, doctors frown upon combat sports when you're pregnant for some reason. I don't know, going to
What
crazy.
do they
But
know?
yeah, like it was like, what is medical school? That's crazy. But, um, and then, I think I came back decently quick after I had my son. Like, because that was right around 2020. So, like, I don't think I came back until 2021 because there was all the like shutdown stuff and everything like that
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
I came back. I was training super hard for like probably 6 to 8 months. Like, obviously, I had work and I had my son, but, my family was across the street. Danny obviously is like supportive. You forget how easy it is when you only have one kid to like make things work. And, I was training a lot. I broke my wrist. So I had to stop again after I broke my wrist. So took some time off with that. Came back, and then I got pregnant again. So, you know, took a break. Then let's see, I tried to come back, and then I tore my ACL a second time. And I was off. I think after Josie and tearing my ACL, I took off like a year and a half. And then now this one, right? So then I came back again, training super hard, and I messed up my back. Yeah, I guess I apparently have degenerative like spinal issues, which are like genetic. But yeah, Danny and I were going super hard. I was like training, lifting. I'm like, oh man, I'm like legit again. And then my body decided to tell me that I'm not legit again. And I compressed a nerve in my spine, and my arm just stopped working, which I've heard is not good.
I mean, that's I don't know. They say if your arm stops working, you might want to talk to the doctor.
Yeah, so I chose to do that, which was good. So, hoping to come back again in the new year. I don't know. I'm hoping to set a record for the longest amount of time having a blue belt. So, like, we'll see how it goes.
No, no, son. Like I'm pushing that record.
So I'm trying to think. I got my blue belt in 2019, and we're coming on 20. So I got it in 2019, probably like, because I have the pictures. I probably got it in like
Really?
the end of the summer in 2019. Or no, I
Mm,
got it
I
earlier, like in the spring.
I feel like you had your belt because I got my
You got yours like the same year I got mine.
I so I was January
So did I
so
get mine in 2018?
I think you're 2018 because I got mine January 2019.
So then, okay, so then I must have got mine in like the fall of 2018. So whenever now, 2025.
Yeah.
So 10, 9, 8, 7 years. I'm on 7 years now.
Go ahead and get your purple so I could, take this record. This is mine.
I could take this record. This is mine.
I'm gonna beat you at something.
Stop. I'm going to beat you at something that's crazy. No, I mean, I'm sure, but you know how it is. And then I think, part tirade as well, right? I mean, and anybody with a family, but I also don't think it's a
Yeah.
coincidence that you tend to see more middle-aged men who are able to train consistently than women. I think a lot of times, kids,
Yeah.
work, stuff like that, and I mean, and that's not everybody's experience, and that's totally fine. But
Sure. Yeah.
my husband, with Danny's job, he was away a lot with trucking and things like that, and I obviously don't have a great injury to non-injury ratio.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you get to a certain point where it's like you have to take care of yourself.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, no matter how much you might want to, do the activity, it's like, well, look, I have to kind of also think about certain things. You know, I think that's a bigger look too, because you'll have folks who, this is their like life, like they compete like religiously. So it's like, they're doing all the things, and it's like, okay. And sometimes you get folks that say, well, you don't want it bad enough. And it's like, well, sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes it's just life.
Well, my response to them is no, I don't want it bad enough. I mean, and that's amazing that you do, and I love that for you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I have other priorities in my life and
Hmm.
other things that matter to me than jujitsu. And like, ooh, not for nothing, but usually the people who say stuff like that are like younger and they don't have those same responsibilities, right? Like I'm thinking even like
Yes.
I had a conversation with Epps the other day. He's black belt now, whatever, world champion, whatever. And when he's asking me about the next time I'm coming back or like things like that, the conversation's never like, oh, well, you just don't want it bad enough. It's always, oh yeah, I get it, injury, or oh yeah, I get it, work right now and the kids are young. I totally get it when the kids were young. You know what I mean? Like, so it's, and I don't say that to poo poo on anybody who is working hard or doing those things.
Yeah.
But my question to them is what sacrifices are happening in the background of your life that are making this possible for you? Right? Because I think that's at the end of the day is we all make sacrifices and we all make choices about things that are important to us and priorities. And jujitsu is important to me and it is a priority in a certain sense that I continue to go back to it. I think it provides not only physical health, but there's like mental aspects that I appreciate. And I think there is a certain level of self defense and stuff that I find important for my job that I have, as well as being like a woman or just a person in general. But like right now, my priority is my kids, my family, work, right? If you talk to somebody like Epps, he'll say, like, oh, I can train and I can do these things because of my wife at home doing X, Y, or Z things for me. Or if you're young and you can prioritize this, it's because, okay, well, like, I don't have these other things that I have to think about as much. And again, I do want to specify for whoever may be listening that this isn't like a poo on you party, right? Like that's like amazing. And I spent several years of my life where that was my priority, was competing and being at jujitsu and doing those things. And it was amazing. But yeah, I think right now, like I'd rather take time off to do things with my kids or to just rest or to just eat a bunch of cookies in bed with my husband because that's what we want to do tonight. You know what I mean? Like jujitsu will be there forever and ever in my life. So
Yeah. Well, you've done the thing though too. You've competed. You train 6 days a week, so you've been there. And like you said though, a lot of those folks who tend to say those things tend to be younger and don't have those things. And when you were younger, you did the competition. You trained 6 days a week. So, and once you get to a certain point, like what like late 20s, into your 30s, it's like, okay, what are we doing? And for some folks, again, that's the big push. Is like, look, I want to be, best in the world, and that's cool if that's what
right.
you want to be. But I know I've run into some conversations where there's the like, if you're not doing this to become that, then what are you doing? It's like, I mean, we all have our reasons,
And I
you
think
know.
that's just kind of like a toxic, to me, like a toxic mentality to have too, right? And I also think sometimes people don't think about longevity, right? Like, um, okay, for example, right, all these issues with like I've had 3 knee surgeries on my left knee. I found out like I have like degenerative spinal issues, right? So like what should my priority be? To me personally, like in my head I'm thinking about, right? Like I could, I'm sure, I'm only 29, right? I'm sure that I could make it so that I could become like a world champion, let's say, right? I'm sure I could make that happen. Even with 2 kids, even with a full-time job, I'm sure I could do it and I can make it happen. But what is my body and what is my life going to look like after that? Like, do I want to be a world champion by the time I'm like 35 or 36? Or do I want to like get on the floor and play with my grandkids when I'm like 65? And sometimes I think people think they can have everything. And I don't think that's the case. I think it's like what we're saying. We can all make choices about what's important to us and what we want. And I think just for myself right now, being the best at just jujitsu isn't what's important. Um, I'm always going to love it, and I'm always going to keep coming back to it. You'll probably see my old ass there at like 60, just getting demolished by like 25-year-olds, I'm sure. Maybe I'll still have
That's
my blue belt.
no, that's no, 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 because
How
I'm
amazing would
going to
that be?
have my blue belt longer. And like, wait, okay, 29. Hold on, I got to do some math here.
Stocky's like straight
Um,
up.
fuck, I don't even know how old I am right now.
That's upsetting.
Well, no, because I keep giving myself the wrong age. I keep aging myself older. Um,
46?
I think I'm 40. I think I'm turning 48. What year is this? 25.
It
I
is.
was born in 78. Uh,
Were you born in
47.
78?
47. Yes, 47. I know. I know. I don't need your help. I know
Annie's
how to do math.
46.
I'm 47,
So there you go. So
so
you're
I know math.
17 years older than me. Oh,
So
wait, yeah,
if you're
65. Stop. It's 65.
so if you're 65, I'd
Maybe like
be
80
wait.
something.
I don't want to have my blue belt at that number. So you need to get yours, so then I can then move on.
For the good of the team, I will.
I appreciate it. You're a real team player. Thank you. We appreciate you. Um, but yeah, I think people kind of misconstrued folks you know not wanting to go to the fullest like extent to become a champion. They confuse it with like, oh well, if you don't want to do that, you don't love jiu-jitsu. And it's like, well, no, I really 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 I love jiu-jitsu. Like, I'm just not going to I don't want to go to those to those levels, number one. And there are times, just jokingly with myself, it's like I don't understand a lot of stuff with jiu-jitsu sometimes, which is why I record now. Like, I take my phone out, I record coaches going over the techniques, and then I go home and I write notes. But it's like I can't just sit there and watch the move. So it's like there's a whole different level of learning going on there. I probably should have got tested when I was a kid. I mentioned this to my grandma recently, and she was like, "Child, you're okay." And I was like, "Grandma, I don't think I'm okay."
Like, yeah, like I'm doing fine. Like I'm just saying, like it might have been helpful. Like I'm not.
Yeah, old people though, they just be like, "Nah, you're fine. It's okay. He's just quirky." It's like,
Stop. That's my favorite thing. And it's like from the grandpa who like eats the same lunch like every single day and collects like tiny little spoons and like if you move his like salt and pepper shakers like a half an inch, he'll have an aneurysm. And you're like, no, you're right. It's fine. We're just quirky.
he's quirky too.
He's quirky
Um,
too. That's why your grandma knows it's fine. Because your grandpa's exactly the same.
yeah, yeah. I mean, now that I look at it, it's like, huh, she gets it. But I feel like since you get it, you probably should have had something done. Maybe I could use some help.
Stop. Tante's like, not a cry for help or anything, but
Maybe the GPA would have been better than 1.9. I don't know. Like, come on, grandma, a little help here.
stop. Oh.
And they
She's
just
like,
pat me on the head and said, you know what? It's okay. You're adopted. So, you know, any excuse. Um, so kind of going back to the early on training, not even just necessarily early on, but just training in general. Like, what did you feel like you were good at um once you start kind of getting a feel for grappling?
I felt like I was a very strange like combination of girl and like big dude grappler, if that makes sense, right? Like I think there are certain things that like I enjoy that are like more female quote unquote esque, or like at least when I started training at the gym with Danny, we're seen as more female esque, smaller person jujitsu, right? Like I loved spider guard, I loved lasso guard, things like that. But of course, I feel like, and I'm sure you know, I guess anybody who listens who trained with Danny at Ivy League knows, there are just some things that you're just gonna love. Like, you know, as much as it pains Danny, I'm never gonna be a butterfly guard person. However, I love deep half guard. I love pressure passing. Any kind of like inside pass. Like I know even knee cut to me is a little bit more of like an inside pass. Like I just love any kind of like I love over under. So I would say things like that tended to be a little bit more. I tended to be very much like a top player. Um, it was hard when I got my third knee surgery and I had to stop doing as much wrestling because that was generally my game. I would do stand up. I like to try to get takedowns or something and get on top. I was much more of like a guard passer, things like that. My sweep game's always been worse. I joke all the time. I got my blue belt because of my guard passing and my takedowns, 100%. And then after I got my blue belt, Danny was like, "Yeah, so like your sweep game is shit. We're gonna have to fix that, bro." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's fair. That's fair." Um, so yeah, I mean, I love closed guard systems. You know that. Like, I love a good like over under closed guard system. Bustamante sweep system has always like been Umaplatas, stuff like that. I got. Do you remember when Danny banned me though? Just speaking of submissions, do you remember when Danny banned me from doing bread cutters?
Mm, no, I don't.
Well, if you ever remember a time when you stopped getting bread cuttered, it was because Danny banned me for 3 months from getting bread from doing bread cutters. He threw a clipboard at me and he said, "Stop doing that shit. You know you can do it. Do something else." And then I just didn't like getting clipboards thrown at me anymore.
Sounds familiar,
Probably just
but
the throwing stuff is what's
yeah,
familiar. Danny
throwing
throwing things.
throwing a clipboard and then telling someone like you, yeah, you know how to do that. Like,
Or telling them they suck. Okay. Also, first of all, I'm actually still mad at you about this. So I will
what?
never forget. We were practicing Bustamante sweeps. You did it, and Danny was like, "Great job, Dante. That looks good." Yeah, you know what I'm talking about now. I go to do it. I do it, and he's like, "Naomi, that was the shittiest thing I've ever seen." And I was like, "But Dante just did it the same, and you said it was good." And he's like, "I don't care. Yours is bad. Do it better." What?
I mean,
I still carry resentment, deep resentment for that.
that ain't on me. I mean, I can't help that I'm perfect. I mean, do better. That's all I got to say.
Yeah,
Um,
I actually remember when I came back this last time, and because at this point it was actually a little weird for me coming back this last time because now Keith has had the gym for a few years. I mean, I saw CH there, I saw Rodney there, Epps. So, like there are still like some people there, like Kyle Rock, Kyle Prescott, like I saw, and they knew who I was. But for the most part, like nobody even knew who I was, right? Which is fine. It's not a big deal. But I remember I was doing like, and I was hitting people with over under and like deep half stuff. Cause like I'm out of shape, I'm tired. Like I'm just gonna go back to stuff that like I know how to do. And I'm rolling with everybody, and CH at the end of class is like, "Man, it's kind of fun seeing all that stuff come back. Reminds me of Danny." And I was like, "Dude, why was I hitting so many people with like that like deep half sweep?" He's like, "I just don't. We don't really do that stuff as much." And it just made me laugh because I thought about that.
yeah. Well, when you came in the one Sunday and we were drilling, and I was just doing the Bustamante because I was like, you know what? Because I'd been hitting the Bustamante and I needed to fine tune it a little bit because it was like I'm getting it, but it still feels a little clunky because I was like, no one's like defending these things. They are just, they're standing up in my guard and their posture's broken down and like they're leaving that one arm there. I'm like, oh, well, I'm gonna go ahead and take this. Mermaid sweeps, you
Oh,
know, like pressure passes, like all these things. Like it's like, hey guys, like there's other jujitsu too, and that's not to say that what they're doing doesn't work, but it's like
But it
my
does.
mindset is it's like I want to know all the stuff so that way I could defend. Like I may not invert, but I need to know like the mechanics to it, because when Kyle Prescott, when I'm rolling with him, he will invert, and I have to be able to. Okay, I got to know where he's going with this, so I
Right.
can kind of get ahead of it. So it's like I may not do it. And I remember talking to Keith about that. It was like, look, I may not be able to do it, but I can understand it, and I have to understand it to defend it.
Right.
And like I see a lot of that now. Like now, because I've done the Bustamante sweep so much now, now it's becoming a thing like, okay, we know what he's going for. We got to pass a different way. We got to get out of guard a different way. And it's like, okay, cool. That's just exposing me. Now I got to learn some other jujitsu.
No, and that's true, but nothing makes me happier than doing a move on somebody and they know I'm going to do the move and I still do it. The look of
Mm-hmm.
pure anger, because I feel the same way. It's like if CH hits me with a John Wayne sweep. Why do I know you're going to do it and you still hit it on me is so infuriating.
Yeah, he got me yesterday with it. And I was like, huh. Well, my routine was with CH when I came back. Like once I like was able to come back on Saturdays and train again, and I ran into CH because I hadn't trained with him in years. And I was like, okay, my goal is to take something away from him each week. Like I have to, he can have all the other things, but I got to take one thing away each week. And the big thing was the ankle pick. I was like,
Oh
I
my
can't let him
God.
ankle pick me.
If I get ankle picked again, I'm just going to end it. That'll be my 13th reason why, honestly.
Uh, like, well, and now he's so last week. I went with somebody and it was like, you want to go no gi? I was like, I prefer not, because if I take my gi top off, I can't put it back on because I'm the sweaty guy. So this this doesn't work. So we did it anyway. CH comes over next. I was like, are we doing pajamas or no pajamas? I was like, I can't put it back on, so let's go no gi. And afterwards, I was like, dude, you're actually a lot more obnoxious no gi than you are gi. Like, let's not do this again, because the ankle pick that I had gotten away from in the gi, it was there clear as day for him in the no gi, and I don't know how or why, but it was just like
So I don't know how or why.
I I went back and looked at that video, and I was like,
I
I'm
know,
not
like
doing this again.
watching yourself make the mistake constantly is infuriating.
Yeah, yeah.
Danny
So
used to do this thing where he would pull up video feed, like the camera feed, and he'd be like, "Here, this is that dumb shit I was telling you you're doing all the time." And I'm like, "Bro, like I'm tired. Like is can we do this at like after dinner?"
it's like I'm aware. I was there. Trust me.
Right. You're like I was like I experienced it. So thank you for that. That was
Yeah. I mean, it's how we learn. I think that's one of the things, though, too, with our training environment that I don't know, always, kind of took from it is, as we're learning, as we're going over stuff, and, kind of getting the critique back of what we're doing, what we're missing, it always helped. Um, like right now, for myself, because I hop around to different classes. I'm pretty consistent with the Saturday, but I pop into different classes. So I have to use my own video footage to kind of critique myself, which is very, very um, not okay. But I had a friend who got promoted last year to black belt. He was like, "You can send me your videos, and I could break them down for you." I was like, "I'd rather not."
just actually the idea of you looking at how stupid I am after I've seen it least appealing.
Yeah, like if I'm looking at the video saying, "Wait, why are you just laying there?"
You're like, I
Like,
know for a fact that. Stop. That's so funny.
um, yeah. Well, it's whatever. It makes us stronger, Naomi. It makes us stronger. Um, when you were competing, like what did like competition kind of say, like reveal to you about your game and your mindset in jiu-jitsu?
Hmm. So I guess, I mean, like, first competition you ever do, I think, and I'm sure, I mean, you know this too, you're always so nervous. Um, but I guess for me, like, competition was never like super terrifying. It was strange. Meeting weight categories was strange. I've never done anything where like there was like a weight that I had to be. And I've never done like tons of weight cutting or anything like that. I've always just competed at nearish the area that I weigh at that time. Like I've never been like a weight cutter. But that was strange. The biggest thing when I started competing was it was the lack of female partners. Women's game tends to be just so different. Until you start getting up to like that medium heavy like weight categories. And I competed at medium heavy a couple times, and that does tend to have a little bit more, I guess, what you could say, quote unquote, like male style. So I guess I don't even really
Yeah,
want to say like male versus female. Especially in jujitsu, there tends to be like light person jujitsu and heavy person jujitsu.
yeah,
And because I rolled at a gym that was not only predominantly men, but predominantly larger men, I had a predominantly larger jujitsu style. Like I was telling you, like generally, like my go-to things, takedowns, pressure passing, half guard sweeps, stuff like that. Lighter women, lighter jujitsu tends to be a lot more inverty, rolly, spider lasso, like 50-50, like stuff like that. It's a lot more guard pulley. And I found that where my jujitsu lacked was that I did not know how to handle that. When I competed at a larger weight, it wasn't really a big deal. My game was fine. I could do takedowns, whatever. But after probably like a year into jujitsu, I lost a ton of weight. I was competing at light, and I needed to be able to. It wasn't even that, when I talked to Danny and stuff, he was like, you can still do some of the stuff you want to do. He's like, but you got to understand how to handle this other jujitsu. Like you can force situations to do your own thing. He's like, but you're going to have to develop some kind of a game or at least some kind of an understanding of how to address it, or you're just going to get shellacked constantly. It's like, fair enough. So that's when not only did I start to focus a lot more on stuff like that, but I started doing a lot more cross training. I went to Elkridge to roll with women a lot more, usually once or twice a week. I'd make drives up to Camp Springs to roll with like a lot of the women up there. Um, I think that would be the biggest thing, like at least in my game personally, that I saw that I had trouble dealing with. Um, I don't, but yeah, like I said, competition didn't really scare me. I like it. I think I'm kind of crazy. I enjoy the like adrenaline rush, like the nerves of it. I think I've always enjoyed that. But yeah, definitely. I feel like competition has a way of like showing you like gaping holes in your game. Like what is what are things that really work, but then it also has a way of like highlighting like where you really are struggling. And so sweep game, light person jujitsu was just not. I just always wanted to do takedowns. I wanted to do my pressure passing. I remember one competition, Danny pulled me aside and he's like, if I see you do one more deep half guard thing, he's like, I'm going to fucking lose my mind. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I'll practice spider guard.
I have a friend in Madrid who um, she isn't training right now, but when she was, believe, right before she got pregnant, she was competing and she was working on just that deep half, pressure passing, and it's like the Naomi blueprint. Um, and she had pointed out, she was like, a lot of women don't train these styles, so
It could be really
um,
helpful,
yeah.
but
I had thought about too when like you and I would pair up, we're drilling, we're training and getting you ready. And I remember one day thinking, it was like, well, like the women that she's gonna go against don't move like me and I don't
right.
move like them. It was like, I don't know like, yeah, if you go that style, like inside passing, pressure passing, deep half, takedowns, then yeah, like, we're moving in the right direction.
But even
But
like even and this was also what was infuriating, which is why the cross training stuff was helpful, is because, and I hate to say this, but like big men give up. That sounds so bad, but like even
no,
if like let's say like I roll against like Timmons and I want to do like I'm even thinking recently. And Timmons is probably way better than me. He trains way more, he's on the mat more, like whatever. But like if I go to do deep pressure passing, it is so hard to pass the guard of a light person. And I'm sure you
yeah,
like know this, whatever. Like big guys, I feel like you can pass their guard. And I know and and I say this as like with an understanding of the fact that like that does I'm not saying they're not good. It's just it's a different kind of reaction to even the things I wanted to do. And so I would get to competition and I would not know how to react in situations because it was just not how the people I was training with consistently were reacting to anything. So Danny's like, you've got to make the trips. He's like, I know you love this class on this days with these people and this class with this days, but he's like, you got to pick like 3 days a week, 3 classes, and you just have to make drives to Elk Ridge, to Camp Springs, whatever, and you've got to train with the women. He's like, you've got to understand how to deal with this type of rolling and the way they're going to react in situations. He's like, or you're not going to do well. And I also say all this with a caveat of like, I was competing like 6 years ago. So I'm sure things have changed. The way styles have changed. Who knows? Maybe big guys are doing barambolos. But at least at that time in my experience, like that was what was happening to me. And so he was just like, dude, you got to drive. I was like, shit. All right, fine.
oh, I mean, I don't know, like looking at, the game then versus now. I mean, feels like it's pretty much, still kind of that, that routine. Like I said, my friend in Madrid, she sees it that way. She's like, well, if I try a different style counter to what most of the women are doing, that gives me a leg up. Not that, what she was already doing wasn't working, but it's like, let's change things up a little bit and throw people off, especially if they're looking at, footage. It's like, oh,
Right.
she likes to do this. Well, surprise. Now I've got this. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Like I've always kind of felt like, um, when you go out there and compete, you're gonna experience, it's tough to even know what you're gonna go out there against anyway. So it's almost like, it, in your own mind, it's like, look, I know what I'm here to do. Like I don't care what you got, but I know what I got, and you know whatever I'm doing just has to be better than what your counter to it is. So, but nah, you was all right. You had it. I mean, you was good enough.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I didn't get
Um,
shellacked every time, so it was fine.
no, I remember the Baltimore Naga. I think you had to like move up
Yeah.
um, and go against a purple belt,
Mm-hmm.
and then she jumped guard, and everybody's eyes like
Because I was
that
like
white.
after my second knee surgery, and everybody's
Yeah,
like, "Oh, her knee's gonna just explode now."
like like you could hear the collective gasp on the
Everybody's like,
sidelines. Was like, oh no! Like you caught her, and it was fine, but it was
right.
like what are we doing? And, like, no, not okay. But hey, I
I
mean,
and then we're talking about just like so. I remember my first competition, and so this was when because I'm sure you remember, but like when I was a white belt, Chris Kim was teaching the advanced classes.
yeah,
And so I was at like this random, I don't know if it was like grappling industries or a Naga or something. It was like my first competition ever. And again, and Alex Ward always likes, like I was doing Alex Ward's wrestling classes and stuff along with it. So I'm wrestling with this girl and I hit the cleanest the hip toss that I've ever hit in my entire life. Yeah. I was just so shocked that I hit that hip toss that the girl just stood back up and we had to continue fighting. And Chris Kim was mad. He was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I was like, "I did not. I think I have footage somewhere. I'll have to find it where I'm just standing there like, did that happen? Did she got right back up. I didn't get the 2. You know, in wrestling now it's 3 for takedowns.
Oh,
Fun fact. But yeah, did not get the 2 because I just watched her land and then watched her stand right back up. It's just like deer in the headlights.
I mean, sometimes like I mentioned that recently, well, not recently, but like a few months back, about getting excited about like a sweep or something. It's like, oh my god, I did it, and it's like, yeah, there's still more.
Yeah, you
Like,
gotta keep going now.
like oh shit, like I think I took someone down. I was like, oh no, that happened with Ronnie. I got him with an outside trip. I was so excited.
Amazing.
It's like yes, and then he just rolled me over, and I was like why? So, um, so with kind of talking about like starting, going through the injuries and competing and everything, and just getting an idea of like I said, you know, seeing what competing kind of taught you about yourself. Being injured, there's kind of a thing to that as well. As like what did injury teach you about like your ego as it relates to the mats?
Oh man. Uh I'm sure anybody you talk to, one thing I feel like injury teaches you about is patience. Um Ego. So I think the thing about jujitsu is that it's a strange culture, and so it's belt dominated. Obviously, like you've got the belts, and jujitsu is one of those sports where like you have um, it's a strange martial art. Okay, and I'm trying to focus my thought process on this, and it relates, I swear. So like with most martial arts, there's certain requirements for a belt. With jujitsu, it's not really like that. That's why you'll go to some gyms and a purple belt is like this. You'll go to other gyms, a purple belt's like that. You have, so it's sometimes it's unclear. There isn't like a consistent, like, I need to do X, Y, or Z things to gain this belt, right? Obviously, you talk to coaches. If you talk to Keith, he'll have his thing he says. You talk to Julius, he has his thing. You talk to Danny, he has his thing, right? But there's not really a ton of consistency. And I think when you're young and you first start out, your whole idea is like, I want my next belt. Like, I want my blue belt. I want my purple belt. I want to get my black belt, right? As a person, I can only speak of my own experience, right? Who's been injured. And then as well as like a woman, like I can speak on a female perspective. I've had a couple kids. And my birth after my son was pretty traumatic. I had a lot of postpartum depression with my daughter. You come back on the mat and things have changed, right? Like when I stopped training, when I got pregnant with my son in like 2019, the end of 2019, there was a certain, I don't want to say hierarchy, but like people were certain belts. There were people you trained with, because you have all those people on the mat, right? People you can beat, people you match in level, people who are way better than you. And throughout the years, I've had 2 knee surgeries, a broken wrist, 2 pregnancies, a C-section. I've had like this spinal injury, right? So it was a little crazy coming back this past one, right? Ronnie and Kyle Prescott are purple belts. Lath's a brown belt. Kyle Rock's a brown belt. Like, Epps just got his friggin' black belt, which, first of all, is amazing. And I am so happy for them. And I can say that now. But I think when I came back after my son, that was a real ego check. I'm getting shellacked by people who, not to mince words, I was beating the crap out of before. I've got like teenagers who I remember, oh my God, like this last time when I came back and like Liam Ellis is grown.
Oh yeah.
And then Rodney's son is giving me a handshake at like 19. Stop, sir. Like, I mean, it's crazy. And I think something that that teaches you is not only letting go of your own ego, but an understanding of people's success is not a reflection on you, right? And not letting it be. Um, but yeah, I mean, it can definitely, I'm not going to pretend like it's not hard sometimes when you're constantly stopping for whatever reason, injury, kids, random life. Like it's really hard. But I think the biggest thing it teaches you is patience and to honestly just let go of your ego. Um, because none of that's going to be helpful, right? And then not only is it not helpful to compare your journey to other people's journeys, um, but you also lose something if you can't even be excited for other people's success. And actually, honestly, it's the most fun thing now, especially with like Ronnie or Kyle Prescott or Epps. Oh my God, it's the most fun thing with Epps when we're like shit talking each other and people be looking at us crazy because like Epps is like high up now, right? Like he's like a upper belt, right? Like you see, you have white belts and blue belts coming in. It's like, and you know, and you respect the upper belts, and I'm just being rude to Epps, and I'll turn and be like, dude, I remember when this guy was a white belt. I got my friggin' blue belt on, and they're like, the math is not mathing, like.
Yeah. Epps is a lot of fun, you know, because like he's a good sport about it,
I know.
and that's what I love about just like when you know we saw him get his black belt. Like I saw the post come up on Facebook.
I was so happy.
I was like, oh my god,
He
like
worked so hard.
well yeah, like seeing him go, through the competition circuit and just just bettering himself, building
Yeah.
himself, and it's like just like you say, you can't compare yourself to another person's journey, but I do look at it too as like not a comparison, but like almost like okay, like I don't want to say a blueprint, but like that hard work, you know, it gets you there, consistent work, and seeing Ronnie, seeing Kyle, seeing Mark, you know,
CH.
CH, seeing Leif and Kyle Rock, get promoted. And it's just like, dude, like these are folks that I remember when I came in. It's like, a lot of us are all babies together. It's like, everybody's growing up. So
I think, well, and yeah, and I think sometimes too, like, with jujitsu or with any kind of mindset, like you forget about like other like victories, right? So like, I think sometimes it's important to keep perspective for yourself in your own life and the things that you've accomplished and overcome. And sometimes I also think it helps you reevaluate goals that you need to have, right? So like when I came back after Josie, my big thing was like I'm not going, knock on wood, right? The plan is no more kit, right? Like that's like my plan. So, my big goal when I got back was like, I don't want to be gone for like this huge year, 2 year, 3 year stretches anymore. Like, I'm not having more kids, you know what I mean? Like, I want to try to be more consistent. Or like, sometimes it shows you, I think, injuries and absences, how to celebrate small victories. Like, right? Like, just the fact that, like, wow, I'm so proud that I keep coming back.
yeah,
Because I think sometimes it's easy if you come back, and that would be my advice I give to anybody who has to, for whatever reason, take long breaks, is to not be discouraged coming back, and to just focus on what you can do and you can control, right? Like, I can't control another person's journey. I can't control another person's skill or their growth or whatever, but I can be in control of my own. So just be in control of yours. Don't be so egotistical. Don't be so like high and mighty that you think that you have control of all these things that you don't have. Just be in control of yours.
yeah, that's what I tell my daughter. It's like, worry
Yeah.
about yourself.
Wisdom? What?
Oh no, I don't have wisdom.
So,
I'm just telling her to worry about yourself. Like
hey,
there's no
I mean, wise words. Worry about yourself.
sure. Sure. I'll play your clip back to her next time
Stop.
she's worried about the kids outside. It's like, hey, listen to Miss Coach Naomi.
Not you trying to get out of going outside.
Like, oh no, she came in one day like trying to take me to a fight. I was like, yo, these kids are bothering me. I was like,
I
then
don't know what you're trying
I'll
to sign me up for. I'm not fighting anybody.
like I'm not gonna beat up a 10-year-old, but find me his dad.
Don't find me his dad. I'm not beating anybody up right now. What?
I didn't say I was gonna fight him.
You
I'm
just want to
gonna
find him?
yeah, just want to talk. Um, like what kind of self-talk and just like mental motivation um helped you, while you were away from the mat?
Um, I think generally, like every time it depends on the length of the absence for me, right? Like after I broke my wrist, like that sounds crazy, but like I would choose breaking my bone over tearing anything else in my knee any day, right? Like the break my wrist, it was like a couple weeks, I was back, right? Um, ACL, anything like that, like those are easy. I feel like injuries and my own personal experience are easy. There's like deadlines. There's like times, like you have like times in your mind where you're like, okay, I need to make it to X, Y, or Z point, or I need to do X, Y, or Z thing, and then like I'll make it back. I think the hardest thing to come back into jiu-jitsu for are like real life changes. Pregnancy, C-section, depression, one kid, two kids, job change, schedule changes, right? Because like I mean, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but it's like, you work a full day, then you pick the kids up from daycare, dinner, bedtime, baths, right? My son is down. Could I make it to the advanced class? Absolutely. Does my couch look more inviting? 100%. So I think sometimes it's like, it's again sort of we talked about already, but it's like, what do you want, right? Like, what do I want? I want to be in shape. I want to be able to defend myself. I want to get out of the house. Like, I want to keep getting better at this thing. So, like, sometimes I think it's about setting expectations for yourself and forcing habit changes. And that's the hardest part, right? But if you give yourself like 8 to 12 weeks, it's not so hard anymore, right? It's just part of the schedule like bath time is. But it's getting yourself to that like point that's challenging. And I think it's also about reminding myself why I'm doing it. Because and I again can only speak from my own experience, but like as a mom, and then also as somebody who like I teach, I work with kids, difficult children, all day long. I need to take my mind off things. I need to de-stress, and I need to take time for myself. And so it's also to me like I need to remind myself to like care for myself and being healthy, going out to jujitsu, being with adults, conversation. It's just something I need. So,
I mean, jiu-jitsu is essential. It's needed.
oh man. And even if it's not that, right? I mean, I guess like yeah, but we're on a podcast mostly for people who do jujitsu, so it'd be crazy. I was like, no, just read your books, which I do. You'll
I
see me
mean,
in the corner before jujitsu reading my book. People like judging me. They're like, "You still read books, bro? Like what?"
no, I remember there was one time you were like deep in like
Oh
in
no,
your
don't talk. If I'm deep in my book, you won't catch me. You'll have to shake me.
like yeah, well, I know that now. I came over and started talking, and you were not phased. And I was just
I
like,
probably didn't
I
even
don't.
see you.
I'm certain you didn't like. It's like you see in like movies or cartoons where like someone's reading a book and the world just starts changing around them. That's what I envisioned it was, because like I was talking, like I was having a full blown conversation,
Oh no.
and I was not there.
Not
I was
me
like,
ignoring you. I'm sorry, Dante.
I was like, okay. Well, and then I think you did like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was reading. I was like, it's cool. And I think I like just did a forward roll away.
Right. He cried. It's fine. Like,
Like, yeah, it's fine. I was just kind of going over the game plan here. Like, I'm injured. Just trying to let you know, don't wrist lock, but clearly you're going to. But
he was like,
whatever.
I was
Such as
divulging my life story. Like, I was really letting it all out. And you just,
like didn't care. It's fine though. It's fine though. Like it's just like my mom. But all right, thanks. All over again.
like, not my PTSD trauma
Like
response.
and the next thing you know, I go over there and just start attacking the like like the white belts. I was like,
Wrist
why
locking
is he
9-year-olds.
like all right,
So he's like, I don't know what I did to deserve this. Later at night, he's just wrist locking her.
like little ninjas line up.
Oh my
I was
god,
like, it's gonna be a rough one today.
it's gonna be a rough one. It's crazy.
Um, so last question before we go to our rapid fire. It's always weird to say that because rapid fires are questions as well, but this is the last question that's not a rapid fire question. But what does success look like for you in 2026 on the mats?
I wish that's some of the hard questions. Um, I think success for me, 2026, is consistency and self care. So doing what I can, and it's making smart choices, right? Like I'm not as young as I used to be. I get I'm not old, but like I've obviously had a lot of injuries. I obviously have a lot of like issues, back, knees, whatever. So like I don't, and I think it's about letting go of ego. I think I still have a little ego, and I think 2026 will be that. Like, I don't need to prove how tough I am. I don't need to just roll with everybody or accept rolling with everybody or roll every roll. Like, I don't need to go to like all the classes or whatever. Like, I have nothing to prove. And I think that's still part of my ego that I have to let go of in 2026 is doing what I need to do to be consistent on the mat. And so that's if that is only doing a couple classes a week, if that means not rolling every roll, if that means being more selective with my partners, then I'm hoping I make smart choices to do that. Or maybe my right arm will be the arm I can't move next time. We'll see.
I mean, equal opportunity,
50-50 chance.
All right, well, that's fair. That's fair. And I ask those questions because, like, hey, I need some ideas on what success might look like for me next year. So I'm just taking notes here. Like, that's a good idea.
Right, writing it down. You're like, wow, that sounds great. I'm gonna do that.
So then when I go back to my therapist and she asks me, what's success look like for you in 2026? I
Oh
was like,
man,
hold on. I got notes for this.
I keep my therapist gainfully employed.
Like my therapist, yeah, she's she probably drinks because of me, and that's fine. I got to provide some, help. I liven the party for her, but also too, she pointed out last time we talked, it was like, dude, like you've gone through a lot. You became a dad. Like you've landed at the job that seems to fit you, and all these things. Like, yeah, I guess I have done a lot of things. Cool. Yeah. So like, can you tell those guys to not come to my house with that jacket again? Because it's kind of tight. And that van is weird and bumpy. So yeah. But either way,
We all
she
have
keeps me
to.
coming back.
It's fine.
All right. Let's real quick wrap up with the rapid fire here. And then we'll get out of here and enjoy the rest of our days. So first question, gi or no gi?
Gi. Ah, gi
Mhm.
now, no gi before. I'm old and injured now. No gi before.
So when you say gi, my first thought was, hey, you older now. You got to slow the game down.
That's
So
he knows.
like, trust me, I'm there with you. Like if I try to do no gi, it
I'm
is
tired.
immediately
I can't
like,
scramble like that, bro.
no. Like I try one thing, and if I miss,
It's
I'm
done
just like,
for.
you know what?
I'm on the
Just
bottom now. Submit me.
yeah. I'm going to try deep half here, and if that doesn't work, oh well.
Death.
Looks like you're just sitting on my shoulder the rest of the time. One position you avoid when your body feels beat up.
Inverting.
Um, what's a green flag in a training partner?
Safety, however that might look at that moment.
One thing you tell every white belt about injuries.
It's gonna happen. So just try to keep them as little as possible. I'm the worst person to ask about that. I'm just like, your life is done for, bro. Like, just accept it now.
Like day one, the white belt's like, so what should I expect here? You're gonna get hurt.
All the time.
Like, like
Just keep a tally, like a little like vision board on your wall about it. We can exchange numbers about surgeons and physical therapists if you need to.
it's like, hey, see those hands of yours right now?
Stop.
Yeah, take a
Keith is
picture.
like, Naomi, don't talk to the white belts anymore. Like, actually, everybody make sure they steer clear of her, please.
You just see a white belt walking towards us, like, no, 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 hey, hey, hey,
Oh,
hey,
like he
let's
comes
go
out
over here.
slow motion, like.
Like, no, 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 don't talk to her. We want you to come back. We want you to come back. Um, and let's see, most underrated skill in jiu-jitsu.
Oh, most underrated skill.
I don't know. That's a new one. So I don't even have an answer.
I'd have to say most underrated skill is if I would rather broaden it. I'd say like is going back to like basic jujitsu. So like seeing people who are consistently good at like 1995 to like early 2000s jujitsu. I feel like everybody wants to do all the fancy things, but like I think like no like and maybe that's more just even advice for white belts. Like start with the basic thing.
I mean, the the basics never get old. Like I will say that forever. So there you have it. So we'll go ahead and wrap up there.
Uh,
Uh no, no, that was a good answer. I'm just saying, like, I don't have any more rapid
he's like,
fires.
well, now on that shitty note, let's
Well, I mean, I do have one more, but I was like, nah, that one seems kind of. I really like that one. So I like that one. That's why I say that one was actually supposed to be the first one. I was like, I'm going to say that to the end because that's a great way to end your rapid fire. I mean, I could ask you if your jiu-jitsu had a theme song, what would it be? I mean, that's I see your reaction there just told me we ended with the right one. Because like, look, now you're thinking it's going to take a lot of time.
Okay, so first of all, calm down.
I'm calm. I'm calm. I'm just saying, like, that was it. That was it. You got to think about a song. You got to think about a song. Relax. Bring it
So
down a notch.
I'm relaxed. You haven't stopped talking since you asked the question.
Well, I'm the host.
That's fair.
So there you have it. Um, so Naomi, thank you for doing this. Um, you know, as a parent, it's I know it's always kind of a time crunch and stuff. Like my daughter asked me, "Hey, you want to go out in the snow?" And I said, "Hey, I'm from Detroit. We don't do that." So, and then I said, "Hey, I got to record." So
Still wrong, but okay. Like,
she
just
wants to move to Detroit.
categorically false. Just answer with the truth. I don't like the snow and I'm old and it's cold.
That was all in that answer. I'm from Detroit and we don't do the snow.
Answer, but sure. Yes. Okay. You're the host. So whatever you say.
But thank you for sharing your time. Thank you for sharing your journey and the experiences that you've had. Before we get out of here, do you have any shout outs or mentions you'd like to leave our listeners with today?
Shout out to Dante. Best training partner around. You were
Hey, y'all heard
my
that.
you were always my go-to training partner. If either of us had to end up with anybody else in the room, there was usually a stank eye that like followed because of it. Not that my dad listens to podcasts, but I have to shout out my dad, Ryan Johnson. He's the one who got me into jiu-jitsu in the first place. And of course, big shout out to my husband, Danny Ives. It was his gym. So, I guess I got to give the turd some kind of a mention.
Well, thank you. And, you know, I always think of that too. I mentioned it recently too. Whenever we were there at the same time, I always tried to make it a point to train with you because I always felt like you were one of the safest people I could train with. And also, again, like you're technical. So I'm trying to, really mimic like what you're showing. And as you're drilling, I'm like, okay, I got to do it this way.
Oh my God.
So,
Okay, before you end, we got to make sure your listeners know that you're giving me way more credit than I deserve.
dude,
People are about to come find me and be like, "Oh, so Dante says you're so technical." Don't like put this on me, bro. Like,
no, because I mean, like I said, when we roll, it's like I have to resort to like being stronger because it's like, well, I'm not gonna out technique her. So when we would drill, I would have to mimic you, even if it was wrong. I would still mimic
you're like,
and have
actually,
to
if
find
I
out.
do anything bad, it's your fault.
Well, yeah, because I felt like well, I'm gonna do what she's doing, and if it turns out wrong, I'm just like, hey, I'm just following orders. That's all. So, but thank you for that, and always a pleasure training with you. And as always, to you guys, listeners, thank you. I want to give a big shout out to my crew over there at Nerve Age Radio. Bobby, Chris, Joe, Marilyn, Phil, Ricky, Ticky, Chucky O, Farrell, all of those guys. There's more, I'm sure. I think they've added more as well, and I don't even know their names. But if it weren't for Nerd Rage Radio, I wouldn't be doing a podcast. So thank you to those guys. If you like the show, thank them. If you hate it, you can blame them too. It ain't my fault. It's theirs. I also want to shout out my other podcasts. So you like horror? I have to say it that way because I think someone thought I was saying you like horrors, and that's not at all what I was saying.
Very
It's
confused when they showed
horror.
up the podcast.
Yeah, I'm always like, well, why are these whores at my door? And they're like, well, I mean, you shouted them out on the podcast.
Had to
No, I
show up.
didn't.
I don't.
It's so you like horror. If you like scary movies, go. Maybe I should change it. So you like scary movies.
Yeah, I think that would probably be better. But I'm glad that you got.
Like we got it figured out. It's figured out. Um, if you're into scary movies and like anything of that nature, go check it out. Um, I don't even know where we are in terms of the theme and episodes right now because my off the mats episodes are all stacked up. So we could be around Christmas time right now talking about Black Christmas. We could be in January talking about horror TV shows. We could be talking about Predator Badlands. I don't know, but it's your job to go find out. So if you're into that kind of stuff, go check it out. Wherever you listen to this podcast, it's probably there. I promise you it is. So that's So You Like Horror. And also on Instagram, I'm there. So You Like Horror, all separated by underscores. We like scary stuff, y'all. And I know you do too. And then last but not least, I would like to thank my guest today, my teammate, my friend, Miss Coach Naomi Ives. Thank you very much. But as always, to you guys, the listeners, we love you. Thank you so much. And you know what it is. You guys keep listening, and we're going to definitely keep making these shows. Thank you, everybody, and goodbye.
They with it. Now let me sing a song.